Welcome back to Sixes and Sevens, the Footy Nerd Special. And we've gone out of the box with this one. He's not a 6 or a 7, but when you talk about rugby league, he's the first person that comes to my mind. Our great mate, Boyd Cordner.
Yeah, the ultimate leader, our great mate, as you said. I'm excited to sit down with Boyd. He doesn't do many of these, so we feel very privileged that he's going to sit here and open up to us, and absolute champion.
When we talk about golden eggs for our 6s and 7s, this one's about golden eggs for life and a motto to live. We can't wait to speak to Boydie.
Absolute champion. Let's go, Boydie.
All right, welcome back to 6s and 7s. Our great mate, Boydie. Thanks for coming on, mate. It's a different one for us because we're great mates, but it's a pleasure to have you on and we appreciate your time. How you going?
Going well, boys. Thanks for having us on. Appreciate it. Don't do too many podcasts. So, it's good to be on one with me good mates and, sit down and have a chat. But, everything's going well. Life's good, just cruising, mate. So, yeah.
How's the coaching? You're obviously coaching at the moment. We'll obviously go into your footy journey a little bit later, but obviously life now, you're coaching. How's that going for you?
Yeah, it's good. Obviously, when I retired, I went straight into assistant coaching there with the NRL team, and you boys know what it's like in that sort of system. It's so draining at times, and it's been my life since I was 16 years old, coming down from the country, and then been in that NRL system since I was that age. And then when I retired, it was through COVID. So my plans were, when I retired, I wanted to go travel, have a couple of years off. But because of COVID, I couldn't do anything. Yeah. And then that was a year when it got moved up to Queensland. Stories coming after.
Let's go straight to that one.
Spent a good few days then.
Yeah, a couple of weeks actually. But and then it was either go up to there with the team or stay in Sydney in lockdown. After I just retired and what I went through, I'd be sitting in my bedroom and, crying every day. So I took the opportunity to go up there with the team, and obviously at that time it was the best thing for me because I was still around the boys. I wasn't in lockdown in Sydney, and it sort of just went from there. Obviously, I didn't have too much of a role with assistant coaching, but was helping out, obviously, because of being a leader in that team. That's just your natural job anyway. You sort of, being a captain, it's sort of another assistant coach, but on the field, really. So, just being around them up there, and then it sort of just took off from there. Like, COVID was still sort of in and around for a couple of years, and then I was like, why not? So, ended up, assistant coaching, more with the defensive side of things there, and by the end of it, like last year, it's draining because, you're putting in more work and more hours when you're coaching than what you were when you're playing. And
is that right? More than what you?
Yeah, more hours. Like it's strenuous, especially being at the Roosters. Their Juju with just how meticulous everything is and Robbo is. So you have to be well prepared and putting in the work there. So by the end of it, it was just wearing down. I mean, I just wasn't enjoying it anymore. And like I said, I've been in that system since, I was a kid. So I needed a change and wanted to step away and just have some free time to myself, just to be able to relax, take a breath, and then think about, what else I want to do. And I still want to be involved in footy. And then the SG Ball team, the coaching job come about, and I knew it was only a short season. We're in finals now, and 4 weeks' time, it's start of May, and then the season's over. So, I thought it'd be a really good challenge, to have my own sort of spin on a team. And everyone says if it's coaching that you like, you have to take control of your own team first, no matter what the age is, and then you will know if coaching's for you or not. But so I've been doing that since, the end of the year, pre-season and into the season now. And to be honest, I've been really enjoying it. It's been refreshing to work in a different environment rather than the NRL, high pressure. You have to be on every day, to then now, having a bit of time. That's 3 days a week, Arvo training, and then, game time, and then seeing these kids come through and and trying to develop them, and just the different challenges that it's given me. It's been really refreshing, mate, and something that I've really enjoyed. And along with that, to still have my to be involved with footy, but then have my free time too. It's just been a really good balance at the moment. So I think I'm in a really good spot.
The boys have finished top 4 in the SG ball team. Who's been a standout this year, and a good chance of winning it?
Yeah, definitely. We had a bit of a rocky middle part of our season, and it's only 8-week comp. So if you lose a couple of games, then you have to keep winning. It's so close, that competition. So we've got a couple of really good players in there. Juju, you've been down at training there, so you know who's who there. But got young kid Jackson Allen. He was my captain. I've lost him. We had a buy around, and all of my good players went up and played flag and cup, and I lost a couple too on that weekend. So I lost my skipper. But and then Rex Bassingwade, he was my vice captain. Lost him round 2 with a shoulder injury. So been unlucky. But there's a couple of really good boys there that if they knuckle down, they should have a bright career.
What kind of coach are you? Because obviously we know what you like as a player. You like your actions first. We talk about, when you talk about you, it's leadership, drive, want to win. How do you coach that? Like, obviously, all your leadership stuff was through actions.
Yep.
Now you're a talker. You have to actually guide the team. How do you deal with that? And did you have to work on that, or is it something that you fell straight into when you got into coaching?
Yeah, I think it's something that I fell straight into. I think the best thing for me is not trying to just because I got the coaching role doesn't mean I have to try and be a certain style of coach. What I wanted to do when I accepted this role was my main objective was to get these kids ready. How am I going to get these kids ready for the next step in a Roosters jersey? What does it take to be an NRL player at the next step in a Roosters jersey? So that was my first thing. And then my second thing is that, I love to win. So, I'm not just going to go there and go, okay, boys, this is what it takes to be a first grader. The first day I had them, I was like, we're going to win the comp. This is how we're going to do it. My job here is to develop you boys into first graders, but we're going to have some fun and win along the way, you know what I mean? So with that balance and my experience with obviously coming through at that age, I know what it takes to go to the next level when they're 18, 19 years old. So with that experience and what I've learned, I just try to pass that knowledge onto them. Coming to the back end of my career, and I'm a bit frustrated at this because I felt like for me being a leader, I got thrown into that role at a young age. And was I ready? I don't know. But I grew into that role through experience, and I felt like when I was 28, 29, when I retired, I was coming into the best parts of my career in that role. So I was a bit frustrated that I couldn't give that part of my career a red hot crack, because I felt like I was ready to really take my footy to the next level in that area.
Yeah.
So then I felt like it was a chance for me now, knowing what I do and my experience, to pass it on as well. That football knowledge, not so much about the X's and O's, but the mentality around a football game for me is the most important thing to pass on to these boys, because I think you would agree, you do a sixes and sevens, a halves podcast.
Yeah.
But even like you can be the most skillful player, whether you're a halfback, a front rower, but one thing in the game that, it's been around for more than 100 years, that won't die, and it's the most important thing, is hard work and toughness, because it's a tough game. So my biggest message to these boys is that, you got to show it the respect it deserves. And, you can be the most skillful player, but are you going to be the hardest working? Because, this game and what it brings, it's a tough sport.
Yeah.
Not only just on the game, but it's so tough. So I think for me as a coach, it's more about the mentality around a game of football, and then obviously you have to, you know, let them express themselves at that age with their skill and their footy, because then they learn, and you know you don't want to cage them like that. So it's about, you know, creating an environment where, you know, that they're able to go and play and express themselves, but at the same time, what's the true essence of the game? You got to respect that.
How did you learn all this, Boyd? You sort of just led me. We're just in awe sitting here listening to you, and we've known you for so long, and everyone who's played with you knows what kind of man you are. But take us back to early days, and how did this be created, this Boyd Cordner that we all follow and lead? Because you obviously had some setbacks as a kid. Yeah. Can you go as deep and as low as deep as you want?
Yeah.
But, I want to know where this comes from.
Yeah. No, it's obviously you boys know me, and like better than anyone else, you know, I've met through the game. But yeah, since I was a young kid, you know, I went through some hardship. I lost my mum at a young age there to breast cancer when I was 4 years old. So, yeah, you know, it's sort of just been my dad, my brother, and you've met my family and stuff. Like, you know, we're a really close bunch up there. There's not many of us, but we stick together there. So, from a young age, I had a lot of growing up to do pretty quick. And, you know, it's a credit to my dad, you know, for how he sort of prepared not only myself but my brother too from a young age for what's to come in life. You know, not just footy, but, you know, he understood that, you know, I didn't have a mother there anymore, so he had to raise me the best way he could to prepare me for what life has to bring. And as we know, life's not easy, you know, it's tough. So, yeah, I had a lot of growing up to do when I was young, and, you know, through just life experiences, I think I grew up early, and with that, you know, I've never once sort of chosen to be a leader or like that's what I want to do. I want to be a leader or a captain. It's just something that's come natural to me, I think, because of what I just touched on there. And yeah, moved down to Sydney at 16 years old, got thrown in the deep end pretty quick. And yeah, first day of pre-season, I remember Peter O'Sullivan picked me up from an apartment in Bondi. You know, Dad just dropped me down the other day, and he went back home. And I can remember it was only a couple of days after my Year 10 formal, so still
you had
pretty
a full
young.
beard too.
Yeah, my mates are back home playing backyard footy, and then I'm down just about to go to do a full pre-season. And then, yeah, that was a pretty big test, that. And then, yeah, so got off track a bit there, but yeah, it's just, I think through life lessons, mate, and having to grow up quick, I think that's what sort of started my journey as probably a leader and a captain.
You speak about obviously home. You said that the country, Olbar, Taree. I've been lucky enough to spend time there with yourself, your dad, and your brother, and you can see it's ingrained from Spuddy. Spuddy's he's a tough man. Dane's the same. Is that where you get your toughness from growing up in that environment? Because I haven't seen Dane play footy, but you see his mentality as a person. Like he's honest. He's straightforward, and Spud's very the same. And there's no shit in between. It's straight down the line. Is that where you get it from? Because you talk about obviously rugby league. Growing up as a kid, you were good at cricket, surf, life saving. Is that where the winning mentality come from for later in life?
Yeah, I think so. And I think, you know, that's something that you can't teach either. I think you're either born with it or you're not. Like, that's the hardest thing, I think, to coach. You know, you can coach skill and everything, but someone's character, you can't coach them to be tough. You know, I think it's something like an attribute you're either born with or something that you develop at a young age through experiences. And for me, it just so happened to be my situation at the time. And yeah, Dad's he's a very straight up bloke. You know, you've seen him before, and I think a lot of that too come from there was a period there where I lived with my grandparents, and my pop, he was the toughest man I've ever come across, and you know, we were scared of him like shit scared. Like he's a tough man, but he was fair. And I think we learned sort of a few of those old school values through that time, which were probably really important for us. But at the same time, I think, because we didn't like have that that mother's love sort of thing with the old man can be tough, and then but your mum will go and cuddle you, and you have that balance. I think it was just like it was sort of just that like Dad. If we wanted to act like men, he would treat us like a man, and if we wanted to act like a kid, he would treat us like a kid. From a young age, and he was pretty honest, like since we were young, and I think looking back on it, it's probably the best thing and the best best sort of situation for us as kids, sort of preparing us for what's to come in life.
Yeah, you spoke about that session going into at 16, so we're going to go into your footy side of it now. Turning up at the Roosters as a 16-year-old kid, it's easy for us halves. We're expected to fuck up and expected to make errors. But a young forward, they always say, back then there was the old school Willie Mason, Mark O'Mealy, blokes like that. What was it like?
Yeah, to be honest, I was scared. I was scared for 2 years. Like it was, but at the same time, I look back on it and I've had a successful career, but I reckon that's probably the most proudest moment. One of the most proudest moments for me is how I come down and handled myself when I was 16. Because I look at some 16-year-old kids now, and they're still getting babysitted by their parents and all their aunties and uncles. They're not there.
They're not allowed out.
You know what I mean? So I look back and going, how the hell did I manage that? But for me, coming down, football was my life, and that's all I wanted to do. So when I look back now and think about it, that was my opportunity, and no matter how old I was, or I knew that was it for me, and I had to shine. Like otherwise, I'd be back up the coast, and then I'll just get another kid in. So I talk to these boys now who come up and like they get opportunity with NRL. I was like, you go and make the most of it. I was like, first impressions are everything. And this is your time. Like, don't go and wait for something to happen, or just because you're shy or young, because I'm telling you what, it'll pass you by and they'll just get rid of you. You'll go back to the Central Coast and play first grade up there for the rest of your life. But this is your opportunity now. So what are you going to do? Like, how are you going to go about it? Don't, just because you're young and shy, you need to like go after this. This is you. Like, is this what you want to do? Then go and grab it with both hands there. So it was a bit of that mentality. Like, this was my time. Even at that age, I was like, I have to go and like prove myself here, and this is it. Otherwise, it's just going to pass you by. And then another thing there was, I learned a good lesson was, one was with Dew, with how young he was at that stage still, and Friendy. So when I went to training, Friendy's only a couple of years older and you're only a few years older than me. And just with how well accepted they were within the group, these older boys like Craig Fitzgibbon, Mark O'Mealy, they just loved him. And I was like, how do they get, like, he's only a couple of years older than me, Friendy. But then I just watched him and I was like he must, like, how, like he must be doing something right. Yeah. And then the number one thing that these two boys were doing was they were the best trainers. Yeah. They were the hardest workers. Yeah. Every single day. And then they were respectful to the older boys in the club. And I was like, righto, sweet, that's what I'm doing. So I made sure that I was the hardest trainer, and then I was respectful. I had to, earn my respect by showing it. And then, like, through that and over time, when you just keep stacking up days, and then slowly you start to get the respect off the playing group, and then, that's where it goes from there. So
when you say hardest trainer, like, a lot of people sit there and go, I'm going to go train the house down. And I've seen you in moments, we had a laugh about it last night when we were on the piss in Bali, walk to the gym with drinks in their hands and train their backsides off. Like, how do you like?
I just laughed at that treadmill session at yours.
Or when you're on the bike
Hungover, boy, don't take us through a marathon.
This is for the parents and for young kids. Listen, how do you flick the switch? Like, it's easy to say, I'm going to go train my backside off and do it once. How do you stack days? Because you've done that through obviously your career, stacking days and getting to where you are, but then you've had adversity for your injuries and you've set yourself we'll talk about it later, the grand final that you were injured and you had a certain amount of time to get back. Everyone's saying, no, you're not going to do it. But it's that mentality of that, what you just said, like, I'm going to work hard to do whatever, and whatever that takes, I'll do it.
Yep.
But what's the secret to that?
Yeah, I suppose there's no real secret. It's just I suppose it's firstly who I am as a person. I treated every training session like a game day sort of thing. Like, it was big for me. Like, especially when you're that age, you need to impress. And I was on all the time, but it's doing. So as silly as it might sound, but it's doing the things that the other boys don't want to do. Like, if we're doing a tackling drill and you have to run the ball, I made sure I ran the ball all the time, and just kept going to the front of the queue, being first to every drill, and just I prided myself on that at the start, because to be honest, when I was a little bit later on down life, I wasn't the most skillful player, so I had to make up my strengths somehow else. And for me, I found at an early age that I was working harder than everyone else. I made sure that every game I played, I probably wasn't going to beat you with my skill, but I made sure that I was going to outwork him for sure. And I suppose that came at a young age where I knew that was my gift, and then I just took that on, and then I knew that with that plus learning, that's part of the game. At a young age, the respect that you get from your teammates from doing that stuff, it's more than throwing like a cutout pass to the winger, you know what I mean? So, I don't know, I think it was just a part of who I was, Todd, and I don't think there's any secret to it. Like, I can't really speak on it. You either you want to do it or you don't.
You speak about, you're downplaying yourself there a little bit about skill. You obviously ran the best line I've ever played with as a back rower, and we had a great combination there, and I'm sure Toddy can say the same thing. And the courage line that you were known for, that play for carry, that obviously all the fans that are listening have watched you do in Origin Australia and big games. But the ability to run lines, we coach and speak about halves a lot now on this show especially. Have you got a bit of insight or how you develop that skill to run holes? Because you would, over the history of the game, there's not been too many better. Yeah,
it's definitely an art. It's probably easier for me because I think you learn that. You see it more so when kids and they play footy from a young age when they're 3 or 4 years old, compared to players that just play footy from 14 because they're big and strong, and then they have to, you can tell the difference between them two. They're more developed and more instinctive at that age when they start from a young age. And I think for me, when I first started or playing footy, all of that was just like a feel thing for me. But then when I sort of knew it was a strength of mine, I wanted to be the best at my position. So then it becomes a little bit more technical. But the thing I tell my back rowers now is, without getting too much in depth, is you got to have your width and your depth. You can't crowd your halves too much. How annoying is it for you boys when your back rowers overrunning you, or especially when 4-man gets held up and then you're trying to get to 3-man, but your back rowers in your pocket. You know what I mean? So it's all about your width and your depth, and then on the back of that, it's your timing and intent. If you know those two things, I guarantee you'll be in a better position than most running those lines and leads. Ball
running, and then obviously then the hitting holes, and then there's the toughness, and I experienced. I only played a small part with you, but then to come up against you, I knew from if I kicked to the right corner, play 2, you're coming. Like, not many back rows do that now. Was that just part of your DNA of that was your non-negotiable for you to play well? You had to take that carry because you'd done it in the biggest arenas, grand finals, Origins, Australia. Like, for a half, I was like, fuck, I'm going over the other side. Like, is that just part of you? Like,
big elbows like
like
in your head.
it's like a big Brahman bull running that way. That's what it was like. So, like, this is more for a message for the younger ones. Like, that's a part of you, but some people don't do that. They just wait. And is that how you felt you got into the game, or that was just what you done?
Yeah, I think it was just what I'd done. I knew that was a strength of mine, and again, I knew that that's what helped any team that I played for help win us the game. When I was at my best, I was getting back there on play 2 and making those carries, but I think it's a respect thing too that you get off your teammates and that as well, is that, you know, them carries off your own goal line, where again we spoke about it in the training where no one really wants to do. You know, I was willing to do it, and I suppose I made it a strength of my game, and build on that. So I think too, on the back of that, it's probably just a selfless sort of act, because, you know, later in the set your middles are fresh to take over then, and it gives you a chance for your outside backs to get into shape earlier, so then we can play footy. You see all the back centres, they come in and take these carries, but then later in the set when you want to, if a short side comes up and they're not in position because they just carried, then that hurts the team too. So I thought that, you know, especially on our edge, if I could get back and take one of those carries, maybe, you know, on 4th tackle when we're around halfway on a short side, our centre or wing is in spot there to take advantage of that situation.
I remember you played a first grade trial when you were 16. So you spoke about coming into pre-season. Just a little story for the viewers. I remember Boyd talking about coming in and working hard. I remember we had Willie Mason, Mark O'Mealy and Craig Fitzgibbon at the time, and it was a bit old school. We used to do these little opposed sessions where nowadays they use the pads. This was like 4-on-4 backyard footy, and Boyd was bashing Mason, bashing Ogre, bashing Fitz, out of respect. But they made it personal, and this young kid was 16 coming in, and everyone was just going, I'm a halfback, just going, how good's this? You ended up debuting in a trial game that year at 16. I remember playing with you, and everyone was blown away. And I said it at the time, and we said it heaps of times, I knew you would captain Australia at that time, the person you were. You've always been a few years younger, but someone I've looked up to for advice. Plenty of times on benders asking Boyd for an emotional cuddle. I'm the head case. He was Mr. Mature, but you've had that gift from the start. But what was that like coming in at 16? You're not coming in as a halfback to the viewers. You're coming in as the alpha, the lead from the front. Like it's unseen in the history of our game at that age. And then you debuted that year or the year after?
Year after. Yeah, so I think you're a bit nice there, and with your words with bashing them boys, but
mate, I'm telling you,
I was hanging on, I think, for dear life. But yeah, I think it was just the at that age, and then I had that pre-season, right? Freddie was coach, and you know I held my own during that time pre-Christmas, and then trials come about. So I went back to SG Ball, the team that I'm coach. So I was a year young for SG Ball then in under 18s, and our comp had started, and we were round 3, and we played Penrith out at the Western Weekender in the middle of the day. And then after that game, I went over to the stands, and Peter O'Sullivan, who was the recruitment manager at the time, he goes, "Oh, mate, quickly go and grab your bag. We're going to go out to Campbelltown for the first grade trial." I was like, "Oh, righto, sweet. I'll go and watch that with you." And he goes, "No, you're playing." So I was like, "Mate, I just didn't know what to think." I was 40 was jamming me up. I was like, "Yeah, right." He goes, "Mate, quick, go and get your bag. We have to get out there because they'll be warming up soon." So I was like, "Shit, can I go and tell my dad?" He goes, "Yeah, quick, hurry up." So I was like, "Dad, you got to get out to Campbelltown. I'm about to, I'm going to be playing NRL." I was 16 years old. I was shitting myself. I was actually hoping the car would break down on the way out. Like,
I was taking play one carries.
No, I was not ready at 16. So anyway, we got out there and I rolled in. I still had my socks on, dirt on my knees. Walked into the first grade room. There's Nate Miles there sitting down, and Willie Mason and like Fitzy, all these guys, Juju, and I just couldn't believe it. I jumped in the shower and like sat down, and like it was just the biggest blur. And I remember running out for warm up and like running out in front of the boys just cheering, going, "Yeah, Boydle, yeah, Boydle." And I was just going, "Holy hell, hope that's a black." I just didn't like think it was real.
Yeah.
And then I only sort of played the last like 30 or 20 minutes of that trial, but then because I was flying down, because I was still living at home at the time, so I was flying down for my games in SG Ball, so I flew back to go to school. And I'm like, "Oh, how'd you go SG Ball?" So, mate, I ended up playing an NRL trial. Like after, they're like, "Yeah, bullshit, you did." Like, they didn't believe me. No one believed me. And then until the papers put a story in up there, and yeah, like looking back on that, like it's crazy. And so that year, that was when the under-20s was around. So I played under-20s that year for a bit, and then broke my jaw, and then I was out for the rest of that year. And then when I was 17, that's when you come down, Toddy, and had another really good pre-season at that age. And then it was the game before our first trial in New Zealand, and I done my ACL, and I was out for the rest of that year. And it wasn't until the year after where I debuted when I was 18.
You talk about those injuries, and obviously we've spoken about like your mindset going from a young kid from Albar to the big city. How do you reset after injuries? Like you break your jaw at 17, going into the next preseason, you would have played that 2010 season if you don't do your ACL. So many kids go through this, and so many kids just get left behind. They think it's done. What was your mindset? How do you reset? Like, because throughout your career you had other injuries and setbacks. What's the reset? Is it through a thought process, or it's just like my back's against the wall, I'm going to come back harder? Yep. Because every time you come back bigger and better.
I think when you're a kid, when you're young, when I had most of my injuries, it's piss easy, to be honest, because you still haven't done anything, and the goal is still to play NRL, to play Origin, to play for Australia. So when you get injured as a kid, it's easy. Like it just makes you more motivated to get back. So every time I was injured as a kid, it was okay, because it just made me like more hungry to go and live my dream. There was not once where I was like, "Oh, hang on, maybe this isn't for me." It was like, I had 5 surgeries on my right knee before I was 19 years old.
Yeah, right.
I had my ACL on my left knee when I was 17 years old. I broke my jaw when I was 16. All these injuries before I was like 21. But the mentality around it, I suppose through that time it built resilience, and it was probably a good time to get that at that age. But I found when I was more established and had like a leadership role in the team, every time I got injured, I found that to be quite hard and challenging, only because you felt guilty in a way.
Yeah.
Guilty in what way, Boydo? Just not playing, you mean? Yeah.
Not playing, and you felt like you have that responsibility in the team now, that when you're not on the field, your best attribute is your availability at that age or at that time, because you're a leader and the club's invested in you now. You're not on the minimum wage, you're on a pretty decent wicket, so you're paid to perform, and you're paid to win, and you're paid to lead in your role. So every time I got injured at that stage, and it was happening quite frequently by the end of it, obviously with a concussion or whatnot, that was the hardest thing, because you felt like you were letting the club down, and you felt ownership of that. So I felt that to be the most challenging part of it. But when you're a kid and when you're young, because you haven't got that responsibility in the team, or that you're like, sweet, this is, it's okay. It just motivates you even more to work harder and to get better, so to get back on the field, if that makes sense.
Yeah. You obviously came through into first grade and then worked into a leadership role pretty fast. 2013, grand final. Obviously, I was on the field with you. Great year. Can you give us a bit of insight to that year and then the few years leading after that where you went into captain?
Yep.
Captain of State of Origin, Australia, and all the rest of it. What was that journey like? Because it happened quick, didn't it?
Yeah, so come into first grade, debuted with both you boys there in 2011, and then it was a bit of that 2 years, after you boys made the grand final in 2010, we had a good team, and the next 2 years after that was pretty underwhelming for us as a club. And when I come through at that stage, we didn't have too much success there. But then, it was just you were there, Drew. It was just a total different feel when Robbo signed, and along with that, we had a couple of big signings with Sonny, Jenko, Jimmy there at 5'8", and Donsky, who was an older, the great man. He's a monster.
Love you, Donsky.
That pre-season, it just had a total new feel to the club. Obviously, Robbo with how we know him now, but he brought that from day one, that belief that we're going to win the comp that year. And, it just changed the whole face of the club, the culture. And then it was a time where, we were still all young, coming into the prime of our career, and we were so hungry for success because we didn't have it the last couple of years, so we were ready to go. And that ended up being such a good year for us. Still to this day, I reckon that 2013 team is the best defensive team I've been involved with.
Yeah,
definitely. We were winning games with our D. I remember there were some games and we weren't on, but we were just winning games with the defence, and I didn't feel like that again for the rest of my career in that team with how we could have been playing at 70% but still winning games by quite easy. And then it was a good run for us. I remember in round 12 we had a 3-game stretch leading into the bye, and we made it a big challenge for ourselves to go after them 3 games. The last one was in Townsville against the Cowboys, who are a red hot team then. And after that game, we won those 3 games. But after that game specifically, I remember having a thought that we're going to win the comp this year. I just had that feeling straight after. I said to the Mincat in the sheds after, what he's like. He's like, yeah, bro. Like, how good's this, bro? Like, mad cow after.
Mr. Positive, eh?
And then I just said to him, I was like, Cat, we're going to win the comp this year, eh? And he goes, yeah, bro. That's just him. He was the most positive dude.
He's a king, eh?
He's the best ever. And then go on, made finals, and then, grand final, we ended up getting it done that year.
Origin, was that the year after?
No, I played Origin.
You'd already played Origin that 13
Origin
year was
that
the first
13
year.
year was the first year. At 21, I remember I got called in.
Game 3, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I got called in as 18th man because I remember Greg Bird done his ankle, and they brought me in to just sort of shadow him to see if he was okay or not. And I was rooming with Birdie. And then anyway, the same thing. It was my first Origin camp. So my mentality was, I'm going to make every day count. I'm going to be the hardest trainer. Whatever the team needs, I'm going to be there. And then I ended up through, I think, the way I attacked that week with my mentality around training. Laurie called me into his room and told me that he was going to play me. And Birdie was fit. So I ended up getting a bench spot from that. And then that was my first game. We were pretty unlucky in that 2013. Lost by 2 points there in the decider at home. But then, from then on in, the next couple of years were just, real successful years for us. But looking back now, it's so frustrating to think, we let that slip.
14 we had to win. We should have won.
But even 15, when you got injured there.
I know.
And then we made the prelim both years and didn't get the job done. 2016 was a bad year for us with,
Sorry, boys.
the juju. Nah, it wasn't that.
Just a little slip up.
A little slip ups here and there. But, that wasn't a good year for us. And then 17, we turned it around again. We got Kez there, made the prelim, and then we bowed out again. So, yeah, from then on in, I knew, straight away how hard it was to win a grand final. Not only like you got to make the grand final, but then you got to go win it. So I thought, it's been a 4-year stretch, 3-year stretch since we've made a grand final again. So I remember saying to myself, when I get back there, I'm gonna make sure like I'm gonna enjoy every moment because of. I was lucky enough at 21 years old to win a comp, but then you just think, oh, okay, we've got the grouse team, it's going to happen again. It just doesn't. So I just thought, when I get back there, I'm going to make sure I enjoy every moment and go after it to not only make a grand final, but to win another one.
The captain, your country, your state, and grand finals, to actually hold the trophy and be the man, like the leader, which we all followed you. Talk about captaincy for a bit. Toddy asked before about the secret, of different things in your game, but what made you such a great captain? What made you, have the ability to hold those trophies and bring success for your team? Is there things that you had that you look back on that you saw a pattern that worked, or?
Yeah. So for me, we spoke about at the start of the potty just with, for me I was never once wanted to be a leader or chose to be a leader. It's something that just happened natural for me, and I suppose through experience you develop into the person you are and the leader that I became. Through that time. In that 2013, I was vice captain at 21 years old at a young age. And then for New South Wales, I was 23 turning 24 when I was named captain. So that was at a young age. And then for Australia, I was 26, 27 when I was named captain for that team. And so at a young age, I felt sort of, especially I felt it most when I was named captain for New South Wales, because I felt like that's such a prestigious position, and I didn't think that I was ready for it. I thought I was too young still. But then with that came the pressure of I have to be this guy, this captain that, stands up, or, I have to be captains like the leaders that I've had before me. And I felt that pressure to be someone I'm not at the start, and it got to me a bit. But then it wasn't until I just took a step back and go, no, I've been given this position because of who I am, not because of someone that they think that they want me to be. So after I accepted that, that's when it just become really easy for me and natural. And then, like I said, I don't think I was ready at that time, but through experience, then I grew into the captain that I was becoming before obviously retirement. And then, with experience there, Drew, like you're just learning stuff along the way all the time with, stuff that happens at training. You're like, hang on, all right, sweet, I should have done something there. Next time I'll make sure so you're just learning different things. And then, it's hard to sort of, touch on it or speak about it too much, other than it was just something that come natural to me, I guess.
We speak about it on here a few times. We spoke about different leaders that we've played with, and my part from when I speak about you, I played with you, but then I didn't get an opportunity to play with you as a leader. But as a great mate, we both said it, that when you're in our presence, we feel safe. We always feel safe. Doesn't matter what. Obviously, me and you have been through highs and lows from me being how I was, but I always felt safe, so I knew I had a safe space. So I feel that the players would have that safe feeling knowing that that leader of you is there. Can you take us into the mindset of yourself going into any game, but then big games? Does it change? Because I got the luxury to live with you and see what you're like. Obviously, you're a deep thinker, or I might think you're a deep thinker, but you go into zones where it's like, okay, even when you train with you sometimes don't say nothing because you're focusing on something. What's that focus?
I think it's just the care and the love. You know, I'm my own worst critic, and I think because I care so much, like a bit of my personality comes out in that way. Yeah, so in regards to like how I apply it to footy, for me, mentality wise, you know, when you're a captain, you have to be one of the best players on the field. So it's about getting yourself ready to go on and take the game on and to be the best player and lead by example. But then again, it's about preparing the team of what's to come too and getting the best out of them. And for me, in big games, you know, I always hated when coaches or other leaders would say, boys, like a grand final, just treat it like any other game. It's not any other game. Like, do not treat it like any other game because you'll perform that way. It's a grand final. Give it the respect it deserves. Let's fucking treat it like a grand final. Let's train like we're going to go play a grand final and prepare that way. Like, I think that's a cop out. I think because of people are scared of maybe the enormity of the event, so they don't want to put that pressure on themselves because, you know, they don't want to feel that way.
Yes, they're not tightening up.
Yeah, it's like, it's like a, not a coping mechanism, but they don't want to feel that pressure. Oh, let's just treat it like any other game. Oh, fuck that. You know what I mean? Like,
there's an alibi in there, isn't it? It can be like,
you've got to take it head on.
Yeah,
you have to. You can't shy away from it because everyone has the same feelings before that game. Everyone's shit scared. Everyone's confident as hell, but you know, it's not going to change the fact that if you go through the week pretending like, oh, let's have fun this week, and, you know, enjoy each other's, which you do. You enjoy the week, but along with that, you got to prepare accordingly. Otherwise, you're going to get a rude shock. So, for me as a captain, was always making sure that, you know, everyone was paying the week leading up the respect it deserves and narrowing your focus, because I felt like too, in big games that I've lost, I've always been caught up in the feeling after it. Like, how good would it feel to win, you know, an Origin series or to win the grand final? Like, just imagine after it, like the party and, you know, which you tend to do. But when you start to do that, you lose sight of what's important, and that's the preparation leading up to it. You know, all that stuff will take care of itself if you go on attack. Like, for me, my messaging to the boys now and what I was as a skipper, it's like the only thing important to us, don't worry about the game, but the only thing important to us is what we're doing now and today. Let's nail today. Because if you then stack those days up leading into the comp, you know that you've prepared the best way you can. And with preparation builds confidence. So you're extremely confident by the time game time comes around. You've taken care of everything. So then that's the first part. And then the next part is going and executing the game. And it's not thinking about the 80th minute. It's thinking about the first 10 minutes of that game and how you're going to start that. Because then that will set you up for the next period of the game. And then once you narrow your focus and know your role, the result and everything after, you can enjoy that after. That will take care of itself. Where I thought that was a big shift for me. When I was a kid, all you wanted to do was get that feeling again, and you're going, yeah, how good is this? I can't wait to go and bend it for a week after. And
you start dreaming.
You start dreaming, and then you lose sight of what's important.
Is there, for the listeners, and it's great insight, and you've obviously, for you saying this, because you've got that champion mindset, you probably underestimate your ability just to be able to stick to routines. And we had Nathan Cleary on here we were in awe because Nate spoke about all the success he's had. He just brings it back to one day at a time. And obviously now you're coaching, but you'd find how many kids probably struggle to do that, even if they're told stay in the moment. It's hard to do.
Yep.
For people listening, is there a secret once again that you implement through your weekly routines, maybe visualization? You know, Toddy talks about now that he's sober, he has a glass of water before every night, before he goes to bed. It's a trigger for him. Is there any little secrets you could give us, some stuff that was effective for you to be able to stay present?
I don't know. It's hard for me because footy was my life, so I was present all the time. I did not escape one bit, and I suppose that's just a a byproduct of who I am. So, you know, I get envious sometimes of you see guys and you would have played with them that, you know, before the game they're laughing but that's just how they prepare now. And these kids, you know, they're laughing and giggling I'm envious because I'm here shitting myself before the game. Like that's how I had to prepare to go into battle sort of thing. But these kids are just that relaxed now and
they better play good then.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, but that's just how they dealt with it. And then I don't know. For me, some triggers like because of the body the way it was when I was younger. You know, I had to be in at training, you know, 2 hours before to try and get my body right, not only to play on the weekend, but just to make that training session. So I think throughout time, I just learned that discipline of, you know, trying to get myself ready to play all the time or get ready to train. So I think by the time, you know, I was, later on in my career, it's just a habit and you just get into these routines that you know works for you. And, it's funny, kids these days, you know, you can tell them all they want, but it's only until you learn from experience and then you want to change, then that's when they're going to do it. So it's funny, man. Like I've got kids now that it was 10 minutes before warm-up the other game and one of my front rowers is eating a bacon and egg roll. No. I just said, I didn't want to wig him out and go, what are you doing, bro? I was like, oh, yeah, sweet, bro. I was like, oh, hopefully he plays well, but he killed it. That was a putt, but they're not thinking, you know what I mean? At that age, like they're just...
Lucky he played well that game.
Yeah,
just imagine your halftime spray.
Yeah, I know.
Eating bacon egg roll. You speak about, you've said a couple of times about, and you're not shitting yourself because you're scared, but what's that feeling of, is it the fear of losing? Is it the fear of playing bad? What's the feeling of shitting yourself?
Yeah.
Like for a listener, like, because everyone says, oh, I'm shitting myself. That means people are scared. You're not scared.
Yeah.
What's that process?
Yeah, you're not scared of the contest. You're scared of the fear of failure for me.
Yeah.
Definitely. That's the number one thing is just the fear of failure and the fear of letting your teammates down. That's what makes me so nervous, obviously, because of the care involved. But and then some of like the enormity of, you know, I felt that way before every game. Like it wasn't even before I didn't feel that way just because it was an Origin game. It was every week for me. So I rode the roller coaster so hard, through my career. And I think it's that, Todd, just the pressure that you put on yourself to perform.
Yeah.
Because I know that I'm my own worst critic. So, you know, if I go out and play average, then I've got to deal with my own head noise for that week until the next week.
I think it's one of your biggest strengths, and I noticed it even playing golf against you, or if it was playing marbles or something, that your will to win is what cuts you apart. Like once you're in that zone, even like I say, we talk about golf, and you start and you can sense, like if I got out in front, which is very rare, but you can sense you go into a mindset of going, I'm fucking winning this.
It's not fun anymore.
Yeah, like, yeah.
We got to play golf.
Serial killer.
Yeah,
bro, we're just trying to chill out with a few beers.
Yeah. Like, do you believe that mindset you have to have that mindset to be successful?
Yeah. Yeah, I truly believe, and I think just speaking on my own experiences, and it's funny, I'll bring this up now because we were talking about it last time when we were having a feed. So when I was away from footy when I retired, I'm a new person. And then when I got back into coaching now, I like it, but I don't know if it's what I can if it's what I can continue on and coach at the high level because of the care I'm showing at the moment of how much I'm putting into these kids and then riding every game. I don't know if I can do it to myself again because of that mindset. And it's something that I can't just change, I don't think now.
Yeah.
It's been with me since I was 4 years old.
Yeah.
To like now when I'm 32. But yeah, I think for me and for anyone, you've got to have that mindset. I think, I don't know, it's hard to speak on someone else's behalf, but yeah, for me it's just always been a thing and ingrained in me since I was a kid.
Well, it's infectious. It's like, obviously, because when you're up against someone, you challenge, and like I'm thinking about things when we've had different challenges, like on a boat fishing. I've caught the most fish. I've caught the biggest fish. But it's actually, then it makes me want to do it. Like it's a strength that you've got, and it's an interesting one, because obviously people go out there and go, well, sometimes I'm just having fun.
Yeah.
Sport or anything in life, yes, it's got to be fun, but there's got to be an end result, and that's fucking winning, yeah?
I think the fun comes after it.
Yeah.
Of how you put in. Like, I don't think you can – there's times where I've had fun on the football field, but it's been when we've been up 40-0 and you can start to go, okay, sweet. But I don't think there's been a time where I've had fun on the football field. You know what I mean?
There's a job to do.
But the fun is a byproduct of how well you do your job and the success that comes with it. And then that's when the fun is for me. And the fun is the feeling of, hang on, it's me against you. That's fun that's fun for me. I don't think the actual, the game itself, like when you're actually playing, until I was probably, it's fun when you're under 6s and under 14s. Yeah. But then when it becomes a full-time job, and you know that, winning is what you pay to do, it's success. If you're not doing that, you can't tell me you're having fun. Like, it's the loneliest place in the world when you're not winning, eh?
Like you said, the grind's what you got to fall in love with, isn't it? Definitely. I just want to, without trying to get too deep, just off the back, we spoke about it briefly last night. Someone like yourself who's so much care and just give your heart and soul to everything that you invested in, which is why you are the leader you are, to get that taken away from you. And we've had a few chats at different times about that. That's got to, that must have hit you hard.
Yep.
And then you talk about players a lot in transition and stuff like that. I've always said it about you. Someone like that who's so invested in that champion mindset, there must be a hole there, was there?
Yeah, for sure, definitely. You boys went through it. For me, I was 28 at the time, so I spoke about it briefly. I felt like I was coming into, a different part of my career where I was excited about with the leadership, and but yeah, obviously to have that just taken away from you, it's difficult to try and deal with, especially now. It's been 4 years. Like, I'm a lot better with it now. I'm at peace with everything. I've got everything sorted. But at the time when you're going through it, I spoke about all those feelings about being a competitor and winning, and feeling the highest of highs and all those emotions that comes with footy, to then just go on cold turkey on it. It's so hard. And then it's definitely, it takes time, because you've got to sort of mourn like that part of you as a person, knowing that you can't, that competitor, like that's sort of like died. You got to let go of that. You got to sort of mourn it, because you don't get that feeling anywhere else. And the sooner you accept that, then, the better that you'll be able to deal with it. But at the same time, that competitor never really dies, like we spoke about. But it's just different ways in harnessing energy and putting towards stuff. And at the start, it was hard, because, I was still around footy, and all my best mates were still playing, and I'm still thinking, they're going, I can still play, but obviously I can't. And then, it's not until the last sort of year or two where I look at it now and it makes me sick, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, I know, it's good now.
Of letting go is probably like, fuck, finally I look back on it as like a darkness.
Yeah, no, it's like, it makes me sick trying to get myself up for a pre-season again, like it. So I suppose it's good to have that feeling now, and, watching these boys and what they put their body through now, like it's, like I remember watching the game against, what game was it? It was at Allianz, one of the first couple of games this year, and I was sitting in the stands just watching it in the players' dugout, not having anything to do with the NRL team this year. And it was the first time where I've sort of enjoyed watching footy again as a fan. Watching a Roosters team run around as a fan, because, when I retired, I went into coaching, but I still had something to do with it. So it was like a job for me, and like you're riding that game like hard, like you're not watching it as a fan. But since being removed from that, and then, I just had a moment where I was just watching it in the stands. It was like round 1 or 2, and I was like, fuck, that's pretty cool. Like, just watching it as a fan, and I suppose it's sort of bringing me love for the game back in that sense, I guess, again.
Watching the game now, how do you see it? And for a young coach or young coaches out there, how do you reckon kids need to be coached these days? Because we get a lot of people talking about kids get coached like NRL players. They get coached like their favourite team, like a dad coaches that way. What's your advice to coach kids for them to become better?
Yeah, I guess it's hard for me because I'm not like an established coach. So, like, this is just my personal opinion. And we've seen throughout the history of time in rugby league, there's different styles of coaches breed success. So there's not only one style of coach. But for me, I think it's about, everyone's skillful. You can coach skill and, like, you can learn that. But one thing that's hard to learn, and I think it's important from a young age, is what I spoke about earlier, is about the mentality of the game and the hard work and the dedication, the sacrifice that you have to make to be a successful first grade player. And I truly believe that that's still the true essence of our game. Is it's a tough sport, so you have to show it the respect it deserves. So you have to train accordingly, I guess, like, is that, if that's making sense, just the hardness that you have to have, the toughness, and then I guess the skill's important, but that's always something that you can coach easily when you're a little bit older. But I think as a kid coming in now, I think it's a lost art. There's a lot of skillful boys that are coming through the grades at the moment, but just mentally aren't quite there to work hard, and they get caught in a bit of a tricky spot because they're such a good football player. But why aren't they getting picked? It's because they're not being hard enough to handle a game of 80 minutes of football.
Is that because there's too much sports science, or like we spoke about the old school and we came through, and like you just said, sometimes it's just individual personalities, how you grow up, who your dad is, or whatever it is, how you get raised? Or do you reckon it's just a whole culture change through schools and everything?
Yeah, mate, I reckon it's a combination of everything. Just the way sort of the world society's going at the moment, and you still get the one or two kids where you go, straight away that they're gonna be first graders. But it's just something that's just, it's the way of the world. And you talk about the game, I think the game's in the best spot it's been, like, in regards to our superstars and what these players have been able to produce so far this year. Like, the game's better than ever, to be honest. Like, and it's always going to be that way because of the athlete that we produce, and the training's harder. Everyone wants to get the edge all the time. The education, I think, around the game is at an all-time high. When I first come in, I notice it the most through rep football. You go into those camps and you hear everyone their own speak about football, and you're like, they're miles away. Like, at their club, you see the difference between the clubs, like, and how they see the game of football, or how we speak about it. But when you go into those camps now, everyone's talking the same language. So that makes me feel like the game at the moment across the whole competition is in a really good spot in terms of education and coaching. And I think now one of the main thing is to try and filter that down to these kids and trying to prepare them for what's to come. So when they're getting put in that situation, they're not starting from zero. They've got a head start.
So Origin this year, you're going to be a part of the Blues camp again with Loz as a trainer. What's your message to the players, or do you just sort of sit back and do what's needed, or do you have a voice? Do you talk to key players? Because obviously you've been in that arena and been successful in that arena more so than others. What do you relay to them? Like, what's the preparation like for them from you?
Yeah, I guess for me it's probably in that arena, probably my job is to get around to the boys individually and just trying to get a gauge of where they're at the week, whether it's their first game, 10th game, and feel their energy and their emotions there, and just try and help them prepare the best way that they can. You know, I probably won't have a big role of a coaching role. I'm going to be running the water, so I won't get in the way of the coach's job there. But for me, it would just be, you know, building relationships and being that old grumpy bald dude, you know, like hanging on there. Just for a bit of advice, if someone, you know, needs anything, or if I see anything that's that I feel like I need to address, then I will. But yeah, for me, it's just being around and trying to get the boys prepared the best way that they can, so they can go out and attack Queensland.
Underestimating himself.
Loz has got the job again for a couple of years. Obviously, success will keep him in that job. If they don't have success, we've seen Queensland go to a player like Billy Slater, who was successful as a player, hadn't coached before. You've been in the arena of working under Robbo. You're doing your own stuff now. You're going to be in the Origin system.
Yep.
If the job comes up, do you put your hand up?
Yeah, look, that's a good question. So obviously starting off in my coaching career at the moment, don't want to look too far ahead, but definitely, mate, I reckon down the track, it's definitely something that I'd love to do, is to coach New South Wales. But at the moment, it's in really good hands with a coach like Loz. I was lucky enough; he made me captain, Laurie, and you know, I know how passionate he is for the state and the jersey, and I know that he's going to do such a good job there with the crew, the staff there, and the crew that he's got now with these boys that are coming into their prime of their career. I think he's going to have a really good stint as coach of New South Wales. But, mate, definitely it's something that's interests me, only because of how much I do love that arena. You know, it'd be silly of me to say, I'll be lying if I said that it wouldn't interest me. Yeah. But at the moment, I don't think I'm ready for it. But definitely in a or however long it takes, down the track, mate, it's something that I'd be keen on for sure.
Away from the chaos of coaching rugby league, your golf, you love American sport. What is it the part of American sport that you like? You went over to the Super Bowl, which was amazing. You said that was something you always wanted to do, and you sort of rewarded yourself from after your career. What's the American side of sport give you?
Just something different, like out of Australian, you know, sport, and out of, you know, the NRL. It's just like a different hobby for me. I love the NFL. That's my main hobby there, and I love America. I've been there 5 times, 6 times now, and I don't know. There's something about the NFL that I've just loved, and over time, and it's just become a real passion of mine. So every chance I get, you know, I'll probably head over at the end of the year and do a trip over there to watch some games. But it's just something that I've loved.
Bali,
Bali.
Bali's Bali. The villa over there.
Yeah, we got a villa now. Villa Luna, Mazzari Stays. Anyone wants to book it out. But that's just, it's been a place that we've went plenty of times.
Best. How good is it?
And it's just, I love it. Every time I go over there, you just feel relaxed. And I think the number one thing I do like about it there is just that there's no rules.
How good's life without rules?
You know what I mean? But they're the happiest people in the world.
Yeah. It's like Disneyland.
It blows you away. Like the chaos with the traffic and that. Well, they've got no rules there, but they're the most patient people in the world. Where we've got every rule here. Every time I get in the car, I'm nearly getting 5 stinks.
Just nuts everywhere in Sydney.
It's ridiculous. So every time I get over there, I feel relaxed and ended up, like you boys love it too and know what it's like. It's just good. So got a villa there now, and I'll be there more often. Yeah,
it's so cool. And we were speaking before we jumped on. Obviously, rugby league's all you know, and it's something that's been a big part of you. You're looking into going to the Fireys. You're in through a few stages. What's that part of you? Because obviously we've spoken about the competitive edge, the love for mates, the care you show.
Yeah.
If you become a Fiery, you put that uniform on, if there's a fire on the top of centre point,
Head first.
if there's a fire on top of centre point, you're climbing it with your bare hands.
Boys, I'll do it myself. You're going in head first.
Have a break, boys.
Does that part of it? Does that part of it obviously with footy, and then they speak about the fire as the camaraderie, the group shit, the mate shit. Is that what excites you, or it's just something that you want to get into?
Yeah, it's something that sort of interests me from afar from a while now. And this was the year when I'd taken a step back that I wanted to go and try, something different and see what I like. And, you know, I was always talking about it to my friends and family that it might be something that down the track that I'm interested in. And so we'll stop talking shit, go and, you know, apply and do something about it. Because then you know if it's going to, like this year was going to be the year for it. So, yeah, the opportunity come up, I applied and, you know, got through the first couple of stages now. So, yeah, talking to everyone that's, you know, Banger, Leroy, he's in the Fireys.
Leroy Bennett.
Everyone
champion.
you speak to, they can't speak highly enough of the job. And it's that team environment that you get, they speak about. And then, you know, having the freedom too, the flexibility around scheduling, that I'd still be able to get my footy fix as well, whether that be, you know, coaching SG ball or that origin period that we're about to go through now. So, it's something it's a new challenge for me, and to be honest, I've been enjoying it and looking forward to what's to come in that space.
So good. Before we finish, we asked 2 questions. One of them's a weird one to answer. The first one will be advice to young forwards or young footballers. Actually, just advice to young kids that are going through life, because you've mentioned it a few times. Life's fucking hard.
Yep.
So some advice for because we've got different audience listeners. Advice to a young kid young kid or girl, whatever.
Yeah, my advice for anyone young coming through, and I've spoken at a couple of schools, and I don't know if it's the right messaging, but put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
Just go for it. Whatever it is at that age, you know, you haven't got the responsibilities yet of being an adult where every decision you make can be costly. You've got the freedom at the moment to make a decision and fuck up. And if it doesn't work, then at least you know that you've put everything into it. But, you know, from speaking from experience, you know, I put all my eggs into footy. It was footy or bust. If I wasn't a footy player, I honestly don't know where I'd be or what my life would look like now. But because I did do that, it made me successful in you know, the footy world. So if you're a 16-year-old, 15-year-old, 14, I knew what I wanted to do when I was 6 years old. So even if you're when you're that age, if it's something that you generally want to do, don't worry about it. Put all your eggs into one basket and just go after it. And then whatever happens after that, then just deal with it as it comes, because you're still young. You've got different paths. Don't wait till it's too late, because then you've got responsibilities, and if you fuck up, then you're in some trouble. But at that age, you know, just go after anything and put everything into it.
What's your biggest fear?
Biggest fear? Snakes.
Snakes.
I hate snakes, mate. But yeah, I guess there's a deeper sort of answer to that question. I suppose there's just the fear of the fear of failure still.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I had that when I was, so I'm coming to a stage now where I want to become, you know, a parent and a dad. So it's like the fear of failure of becoming a good parent or dad, or, yeah, I don't know. It's a hard question. It's a good one. Trying to give you a grouse answer.
That's all right.
bro.
And our last one is, why are you so good, and what's your secret? And don't be modest.
Yeah. I spent probably last half an hour to an hour telling what makes me tick and sort of why I was so successful. But playing football, I don't know. I think the advice I just gave, I just everything I do, I put my 100% into it. No matter if we're playing golf or, you know, if I'm playing football, if I've got my name towards that, I'm going to give everything I've got. And I think that that's probably my biggest strength as a person is that, you know, and probably my biggest weakness at the same time, when I do stuff, it's at 100% full on head first, and you know it's either going to benefit me or sometimes it can work against me, but I'll always back myself no matter what. So with that, like, you just need to take stuff into your own hands and not leave the fate up to anyone else. So
you talk about that last bit before we finish, is about that sometimes it's your worst enemy. Remember the trip in Bali? We were sitting around a cocoon. We were well on our way, and there was it had just gone dark, and they had the candle on the table, and you kept putting your hand on it.
Oh yeah,
and you go to me, let's see who can go longer.
Yeah,
I couldn't do it for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck it, I'm doing it for a minute. And then you turn your hand over and there's a blister there already.
So what you do was there was the stupid thinking about it.
You put the candle out.
So you got to do it until the candle goes out.
A minute's a good stint.
It was longer, man. The candle went out. The candle went out.
No. The candle went out. It wouldn't have been a minute, but I got a mad blister on my hand. But that's just stupid.
Never surrender. That's the best way to finish. Never surrender.
That's it. Never surrender. So yeah, Boydie, thanks for coming on. Obviously,
thanks for having me, boys. It's been good.
It's our 6s and 7s footy nerds. We'll take a lot out of that, but just it's a pleasure to have you on, and thanks for giving us your time and knowledge, not to us, but to our listeners and viewers, because some young kids out there, or parents, wanting their kids to live some way. It's through you.
Appreciate it, boys. Thanks for having me on. Hopefully there's a bit of gold there somewhere. But
heaps of gold there, bro.
We're in a gold mine, bro.
I've had goosebumps 4 or 5 times and nervous bum pulsating.
I think I pissed my pants. Oops.
Oops.
Love you, brother. You're an absolute legend.
Thanks, boys.